It was the beautiful dream of an inspiring man who could not speak or understand English that gave birth to an organization that kept growing to become what is today the largest mosque in North America. This is the incredible story of an institution that is much more than a place to pray. This is the story of a community haven that holds our early memories and the echoes of childhood friendships, the place where our kids had their first ka'ak and ba'at, where many cried and laughed, a place that embraces the young and the old, Arabs and non-Arabs, Muslims and people of other faiths. This is the sanctuary where the new immigrants and the American-born came together to find comfort from the stress of life, to worship, to celebrate, to mourn, to learn, and to grow. This is the story of the Islamic Center of America. The story began in 1948 when Muslims in the Detroit area felt the need to preserve their Islamic heritage, especially for their children that had no place to connect with their religion. That year, while hosting a dinner for a minister in the Lebanese government who was visiting Southeast Michigan, they asked him to recommend a religious leader to serve the community and help with their goal. The minister suggested a name that some had already knew, Imam Muhammad Jawad Shirri. After some convincing from his friends who were already residing in the Metro Detroit area, Imam Shirri made the decision to begin his journey in America. In 1949, he traveled from Lebanon to Dearborn. However, the path was not paved with ease after arrival. Social pressures forced Imam Shirri to depart the area in 1950 for a mosque in Michigan City, Indiana, where he became more integrated in the American culture and learned the English language. Few years later, a number of the Muslim families back in Detroit who were inspired by his message formed the Islamic Center Foundation Society. A group of them immediately went to Michigan City and persuaded the Imam to return to Dearborn to lead the newly formed society. Soon after, Imam Shirri started working to make the dream he shared with the community in Metro Detroit a reality, building a mosque on Joy Road in Detroit that would be the first Muslim religious center in Michigan. Imam Shirri's commitment and efforts helped fund the Islamic Center. Trying to bring this goal to life, he made a trip to the Middle East and spoke to Egyptian President Jamal Abdel Nasser about his vision of the center in America. Abdel Nasser was so moved and inspired that he wired a check for $44,000, which helped the Islamic Center Foundation Society buy the land from Ford Motor Company. With the land secured, on November 15, 1962, the community broke ground on what was known then as the Islamic Center of Detroit. The community then came together to support the building of the mosque. In addition to a loan from the bank, many donated generously to this project. Some loaned money, and one person even pledged his house as collateral. The center opened its doors on September 20th of 1963. Families began attending the new mosque regularly, and it quickly became more than a building. It was a hub for the community. Religious services were taking place weekly. Kids were attending classes to learn the basis of the faith. Sunday breakfasts, wedding celebrations, Eid celebrations, and other social gatherings were frequent and brought people together. Being so familiar with the American culture and language, it was easy for Imam Shirri to work with many other religious groups to build a strong community of interfaith network that the center became recognized for. The Women's Auxiliary Club worked relentlessly, connecting with community members to donate, distributing gifts to thousands of children on Eid, and began highlight fundraising efforts like bake sales. The youth, who were always the inspiration for the center, were very involved from the early days. They formed a group that helped them to develop leadership skills and religious identities. And in 1997, Maya School, a full-time Islamic school for kids from kindergarten to 8th grade, was started. The late 90s also saw a massive wave of immigrants arriving in Southeast Michigan. With this influx, a name change was proposed to mark a new era. The Islamic Center of Detroit became the Islamic Center of America. Other changes were also on the way. The center had already outgrown its capacity and space, so a search for a bigger space began. Luckily, at the time, the YMCA was selling their property off Ford Road in Dearborn. The land was immediately bought, and this was the start of what was to become the largest mosque in North America. In the midst of these happy moments and new beginnings, the community was shaken to its core when it lost its religious leader, Imam Muhammad Jawad Shurri, in 1994. While Imam Shurri had departed from this life, his legacy lived on. Community members carried his vision and continued the growth of the center. After several years of planning, they broke ground. The community then came together and raised the money to build an institution that would answer its new needs.
Every time we come to you, you answer our calls. On behalf of everyone at Islamic Center, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to you and your families for all your commitment tonight. The total for tonight is over $3 million. Thank you.
The ICA became a haven for the community. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people from different backgrounds and faiths walk through its doors. The ICA is the place where many Muslims in the community gather to pray and hold their services, to celebrate together the happiest life events and mourn the saddest moments, to teach their kids Arabic at Saturday school and teach them about their faith through Sunday school. Sunday breakfasts bring many families to share food and laughter and make memories. Religious programs and sermons cater to people of different ages and backgrounds. Senior programs engage local senior citizens with social, fun, and religious activities. Friday prayers draw community members from near and far, away from their jobs and busy life, for some moments of reflection and connection with their spirituality. The youth programming continue to be central, and through the organization UNI, youth can represent their voices and have a safe space for spiritual, educational, and social awareness. From the work planted by Imam Shurri in the early days, inclusivity and interfaith programming continue to be major pillars in the ICA, and through Maya School, children, the leaders of tomorrow, are provided with strong Islamic foundation and well-rounded education. Women continue to be an essential part of the ICA. Ladies of the ICA work tirelessly to build bridges with other community organizations. They lead weekly bake sales to raise funds for the center and focus on assisting, empowering, and raising awareness on issues within our community. The impact of the ICA goes far beyond its walls. Over the years, it has reached out and provided services to communities locally and globally. The center led relief efforts for Yemen and Lebanon to help provide food and medical supplies. During the last 2 years of the pandemic, the ICA distributed more than 36,000 food boxes to families and administered more than 7,000 vaccines. All these programs and activities have been carried out by a group of very dedicated individuals, the ICA volunteers, who have committed countless hours to the center. This is their second family, a home that holds their dearest memories and that has given them as much as they invest in it. Working together, we look forward to rebuilding Maya School, expanding it to a high school, and adding a needed auditorium. As we celebrate 60 years, we're truly celebrating each of you. You are the heart of the Islamic Center of America. We look to the past with gratitude and pride, and we look to the future with eager anticipation. Together, we have laid the foundation for many generations, and together, we are building for the future.